One of the biggest challenges in reporting war in Gaza is the lack of media and the lack of journalists on the ground there right now. Since the war began, Israel has imposed strict limits on foreign journalists' ability to access Gaza, unless accompanied by the Israeli military. And since foreign journalists have had extremely limited access to Gaza, the vast majority of the images and videos and first-hand reports that the world is seeing from the region are coming from Palestinian journalists who are already inside. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, the 224 days since October 7th have been the deadliest period for journalists since the organization began collecting data in 1992. By the CPJ's count, at least 105 journalists and media workers have been killed in the war since it began on October 7th. 100 of them are Palestinian. And in this context, regular people have become a rare window into life inside the Gaza Strip. Doctors have taken it upon themselves to film the condition of their hospitals. They've recorded their own video testimony about mass civilian casualties, orphaned children, and having to perform surgeries without anesthetic. There are a handful of remarkable accounts owned by Palestinian civilians who aren't journalists by trade, but who've taken it upon themselves to document their lives in a war zone. For instance, 2 teenage boys have started to gain a following of their own, posting day-in-the-life videos from Deir al-Balah, where they are currently living and evacuating from their family homes in northern Gaza at the start of the war. Last month, Omar and Mohammed, who are 18 and 19 years old, began posting videos on Instagram of their daily routine in a war zone.
Day one of sharing our daily routine in war zone. Hi, this is Mohammed. And this is Omar.
We are from Gaza, inside the war, and currently we are doing our mini business and an initiative for children.
The boys explained that they went to college for about a week before the war broke out and that they haven't been back to school since. They want to make enough money to get themselves and their families out of Gaza, to be safe and to finish their higher education. So they set up a couple of mini businesses where they sell eSIMs and even rent out video games. They also run a small chess club for kids in the refugee camp. Many of their videos feature little kids in the refugee camps playing chess or dancing. They put on a display some of the difficult realities of war, but they also make jokes, they play soccer, and they sing in the street.
Day 17 of sharing our daily routine in war zone. And I see people excited around because they say maybe a ceasefire will be declared at the end of the day, so I don't know. Pray for us.
ايش بدك تعمل لما تخلص الحرب؟
هروح اللوطة.
Day 29 of sharing our daily routine in war zone. And look how crazy is that queue on the bakery. Because of the lack of flour, people are fighting and struggling to find bread.
Then we saw a barber who is serving a customer haircut in the street. And Omar was going to receive a flower, but the Al-Noor station was closed.
So because of the evacuation from Rafah, the intense population in Deir al-Balah caused this pollution, and the sewage system is broken. That will cause the illness and spread of bugs around here. Then we went to the beach and found everyone was relaxing on the beach, and there's some people who was playing football, so we decided to join them and play some football on the beach.
Now, after a few weeks of posting these videos, Omar and Mohammed received an influx of comments from people expressing disbelief about their positive attitudes, even some people commenting that life doesn't look so bad, some expressing doubts about the impact of the war. Omar and Mohammed posted a video in response.
When the war first started, we were forced to evacuate and leave our home. Unfortunately, my relatives in the same home we used to live couldn't come and couldn't find a place to evacuate. Most of them were killed, and some of them survived with horrific disabilities and injuries.
On my last birthday, I remember that both of my parents were out of the city and I was by my own. That's when Hamza, my friend, remembered my birthday and decided to surprise me in the class, bringing me to a birthday cake and surprise me. I wanted to show Hamza how much love I owed to him. I wanted to surprise him back on his birthday. Hamza was killed in Gaza.
I've been to refugee camps in Jordan and Turkey, on the Syrian border in both cases, and to the sites of school shootings and aftermaths of disasters, and 2 things are always true. There is horror, and there are also people trying to find beauty or even respite in life. People under threat and pressure strive for normalcy well beyond the point that it is reasonable to believe that there is any normalcy to be found. And that is the strength of the human condition. People try to find a laugh or a smile, a moment of rest and enjoyment, even if they know this may be their last day on earth. They still try to find something that keeps them human. But that strength of the human spirit doesn't undercut how bad things actually are on the ground in Gaza. One of Omar and Mohammed's videos shows them playing soccer with no commentary about the war. The caption reads simply, "Despite the hardships and the struggles, at the end of the day, we are humans. We are trying to live."